Hey everybody, I'm the Lunchbox, and this is Movie Battles. Today we're going to be talking about Black Panther. That's right, the Avengers have a new king. To talk about this movie, I'm a few hours out from actually going and seeing it. When I get back, we'll finish the actual review. But before I do that, I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit. Before you talk about the movie, it's a comic book movie, so we got to talk about the comic books a little bit. So the first appearance of the Black Panther was in Fantastic Four, number 52, in 1966, which made him the first black superhero. And that was a monumental thing. I think it was about 5 years before that when there was a court case to actually get something changed in a comic book that portrayed a black man in power, and they wanted that X-nayed. So they came a long way within 5 years just to be able to have that. I think DC brought out their first black superhero in 1971, something like that. So a few years behind. This character means a lot to a lot of people. The nice thing about when they created him is they didn't just do like someone coming out of the Harlem or Bronx or something like that, you know, a rags to riches kind of story. They went straight out and had a king of an entire country, and not just anything, like an African country. So he's not even an African American, he is African. So it's pretty cool, and it's a big leap that that's where they jumped to, not just some poor guy. Now, for the most of this movie, it looks like it takes place in the city of, or the country of Wakanda. Now, Wakanda is a fictional country in Africa that T'Challa, the Black Panther, is the king of. So it's kind of an idealized version of what an African country should be or could have been if they were advanced technology, but still stuck to their tribal backgrounds and their original tribal values. So in this movie, you got a crazy amount of good actors. Pretty much every amazing black actor within the last 5 years that's been out is in this movie. And then you have a couple of older people coming back in, and they're fantastic. And then it's rounded out by some other casts that's really good. It's just top notch. You got Black Panther, T'Challa being played by Chadwick Boseman, who is an amazing actor. I love him in everything that I've seen him in so far, and every character has been completely different. You might know him from Get On Up, which is where he played James Brown, and then 42, where he played Jackie Robinson, and what else was he in? He was also in Game Day, Draft Day, sorry. Fantastic actor. And I liked how he was in the Avengers as this role already, so you know he's going to be good. The main protagonist looks like it's Michael B. Jordan. Another good actor. I mainly know him from Creed, and he was great in that. So he played the main character in that film and did an awesome job. So I'm expecting him to do good in this one. Now, there's going to be some of these names I'm going to butcher really badly. You got Daniel Kaluuya. I'm not too sure how to pronounce it, but he's the guy from Get Out who has a big chance of winning an Oscar this year for that role, and I hope he does, because I thought that was by far the best movie that they have listed in the Oscars right now. So he's in it. I'm not too sure how big of a role it is. I don't think he's one of the main characters, but he is in there. For some of the older people, you got Forrest Whitaker, and I don't think I really need to say who he is because he's been in tons of things. And great actor. You have Angela Bassett, the great Angela Bassett. Now, I haven't seen her in anything for quite some time, so it's kind of cool that she's come out for this film. And then you got, this is going to be a tough one, Laputia Nyong'o. That's a butcher, I'm sure it is. She's a fantastic actress by any means. She was one of the voices in the Jungle Book. She's Maze on Star Wars, the new Star Wars series. And she's been in a few other things. I think she was in 12 Years a Slave as well. Fantastic actress. Many other actresses and actors in this film. You also have Andy Serkis, who's fantastic. I think he deserved Oscars many times already. Mainly known for being the VR kind of guy, to always CGI characters all the time. He's been King Kong. He was Gollum in The Lord of the Rings. That's just brilliant acting. And he was also Caesar in the War of the Planet of the Apes latest trilogy. And then you also have Martin Freeman, who played opposite Andy Serkis in The Hobbit as Bilbo Baggins. Did a great job in that. He's been in several films already, and I like his acting style. He was in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the TV series, the Sherlock Holmes TV series over in the UK. Great actor. So I'm thinking that the acting is on point. The director, Ryan Coogler, so far I've only seen Creed, which he directed, and he did a great job in that. The trailers that I've seen so far for this film look fantastic. So I'm excited for this film. I think it means a lot that there's this big of a African American and African and Black actors and actresses and filmmakers involved in this film. It is an important film. It's probably the most important Marvel film that's been done so far. If you look at Iron Man, that was only important afterwards because it blew up Marvel in the cinematic universe. But this one has a lot of importance going into it. I'm super psyched to see it. I think there's going to be a lot of good action. I'm really hoping for a deep dive into Wakanda and its culture and what they have set up for there. Some predictions. I think it's going to be a standalone film. I don't think there's going to be a lot of tie-ins with the Avengers. There'll probably be little nuggets here and there, obviously. But I think it's going to be a standalone thing until after the third act, once it's all kind of resolved, and then they'll probably show something for the Infinity War that's coming up. And there's definitely going to be a shot after the trailer, so I'm excited to see it. I'm going to be going to it very shortly. I don't think I got any more predictions for the film. I'm excited for it. I'm going to play the trailer for you guys while I'm away. And once it's done, I should be back from the movie and we can talk about how it was and whether you should go see it.
Tell me something. What do you know about Wakanda? It's a third world country. Textiles, shepherds, cool outfits, all a front. Explorers have searched for it. Called it El Dorado. They looked for it in South America. But it was in Africa the whole time. I'm the only one who's seen it and made it out alive.
The world is changing. Soon, there will only be the conquered and the conquerors.
Step into the spotlight.
You are a good man
Step into the spotlight.
with a good heart.
It's hard for a good
Good man to be a king.
All right, guys, I'm back. So, yeah, that was good. Let's talk about this. So let's start with the story of the Black Panther. They did a fantastic job. I think this one was definitely a much more socially conscious film than any of the other Marvel films. Excellently done. It's definitely a higher concept. It's got the same tropes as good versus evil as you would have in any other good superhero movie, but it definitely dives into some more social issues that are bigger than, oh, should I do this or shouldn't I? They did a really good job with that, and it was much more emotional than I thought I was going to be ended up seeing. That's just a credit to the acting, really, but there was some very intense emotional scenes in it that I thought they pulled off well. Going back to the acting, stellar performances from everybody, and goddamn, those women were badass. Beautiful, but they kicked a lot of ass. Very strong feminine characters in this. To be honest, I think that they are more the heroes in this film than the two leads, because the two leading male characters, because they're both fuck-ups, really, to be honest with you. They're trying to do good in their own ways. Even the bad guy is trying to do some good, but just going the wrong way about it. But the women seem to have it put together, and they do an excellent job in this film. I want to give a little shout out to Johnny Whitetrash, a good friend of mine. He had a video where he did a Fight Club recasting video. I'm going to put that in the comment section down below so you can check it out. But he went through one casting if the main characters were played by black actors instead of white actors from the original. And he put for the Tyler Durden character, Michael B. Jordan. And I wasn't sure about that. Seen him in Creed, and I thought he was good in that, but I didn't know if he had that range, really, to be able to play the messed up character that Tyler Durden is. After watching this, holy shit, yeah, that's right. The character that he plays, Killmonger, is pretty much the Fight Club character, Tyler Durden, only a little bit more maniacal and a lot more deadly. But definitely, you can see the correlations between those two characters. So, good choice on that, and yeah, that was awesome. So going into the film, that originally I predicted that it would be a deep dive into Wakanda, and it definitely was that. It was really, really cool. You got to know a little bit of the culture, and their culture is a mashup of several different African tribes and African traditions, and it's kind of neat that they kind of blended them all in together, and there's some that they may be real ones or not, I don't know, but it definitely felt real, so that's good writing. It was very well fleshed out, very well established area. Like, they did a really good job making it go in. Now, there are bits of it that feel very Marvel and over the top and cool, and got a lot of the humor and stuff in it. But then there's sections of it that definitely felt Disney in this, which is the weirdest thing. This is the most Disney feeling that I got from any of the Marvel movies so far. Especially the one scene when he's getting crowned as king, and it's not a spoiler, but just the way that it's set up, it just feels like Disney, and I don't know how to explain that. Like, when Disney goes to do a film and they take a culture and can completely tear into it, do good justice to it, but they also exploit the shit out of it. That's kind of what it felt like in certain sections. When you go to the music on this film, oh, like, stellar. You got orchestra, like traditional orchestra music with African drums in behind, and it just sounds so great together. Like, it's a really good mashup. I'm hoping to see more of that kind of sound in the Jungle Book, or not the Jungle Book. I'm hoping to see more of that in the Lion King remake when they do that one. Hopefully they take a cue from this film, because they did it really good in here. Then you had some good hip hop in there with some African influences in the hip hop some more, like straight out African influences. And then you had some K-pop because they go to Korea for a little bit. So when you're talking about this film, I mean, it was a completely standalone film. So you can go to this one. You don't need to know anything about the Marvel Universe. You don't need to know anything about the Black Panther. This explains it all. And it's so self-contained, which makes sense because Wakanda's self-contained. So it's kind of a cool following through that story that makes sense. They did a really good job in that. I think you can watch it. There's little teasers and tidbits from other things that you might get or not, but you don't lose anything from the movie experience not knowing that stuff. So it's definitely good if you're not sure about superhero movies or you're not a big fan of all of them, you can go to this one and not feel insecure about it, because it definitely doesn't feel as much superhero as the other ones do. Like the Thor Ragnarok that just came out, very superhero movie and very poppy, whereas this one seems much more grounded, very, very serious film in comparison to the others. So going into some of the bad parts, which was not a lot, it was really well done. I enjoyed the film. I did notice that some of the CGI seemed a little off. There's parts where he's in his suit in daylight and he's walking and it feels very robotic. And then when he's jumping around and stuff, it doesn't seem right. Like a lot of the action sequences, fantastic, done well. All the CGI for like the city of Wakanda and things like that, they did a great job. It was just some of the action scenes, definitely you felt some holdback by the CGI. I don't know if that is a lack of experience on Ryan's part, the director, because with Creed, that's not a huge CGI film. It was pretty much groundwork, like real world stuff. And this one definitely has a lot more CGI in it than he's probably ever dealt with. Maybe that's why, I don't know. But I don't think it took away from the film. I just noticed it and it did bug me a few times. So that's pretty much that. I would suggest going to this film. It's a fantastic one. It's definitely worth the money to go check it out. I'm probably going to end up buying it as well. It's definitely a good one to own. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I seriously suggest it. It is a good film. It's not full out just superhero film. This is diving into a world that is really interesting and deep. So now that that's done, I'm going to talk about spoilers. So before you go, like, share, subscribe, do all those wonderful things you do. Please comment down below. Tell me if you've seen the film, if you liked it, or if you're going to see it. If not, that's cool. But now we're going to talk about some spoilers. So one of the spoilers that got me, it bugged me that they killed one of my favorite characters so far in the Marvel Universe. And they killed Ulysses Claw, which is played by Andy Serkis. And I love the way he played it. I loved it even more in this film. And then they kill him. I mean, it made sense to kill him. I understand where they did it. I just love that character and I want him back. So that sucks. There is a little hint in the movie where they're like, oh, it's not the first white guy we had to fix. And didn't know who they were really talking about. And in the cutscenes at the end, you find out that Bucky was there. So that's pretty cool. And the other big thing about this movie is now because they've opened up the world of Wakanda to the rest of the world in this fantasy universe of Marvel, it does set up for the next film, and that's why there's a big war, and Wakanda is now a part of the war when it comes to Infinity Wars coming up in, I think, later this year or next year. So it makes sense. That was really good. So that's all there is for spoilers. So that's the end of this video. Please go check out the movie. It's awesome. Watch more movies.